And welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm Alexander Armstrong. In the news this week, on his way to the Beijing National Museum, it's a bad day for the driver transporting soldiers from the priceless 2,000-year-old terracotta army. In Somerset, there's a possible explanation as to why construction of Hinkley C nuclear power station is 2 years behind schedule. And despite more criticism for its continued production of unethical tuna, the chief executive of John West tries to relax on holiday. On Ian's team tonight is a former banker who became a professional comedian. So successful, she's now laughing all the way from the bank. Please welcome Sindhu V. And with Paul tonight is a Labour MP who is also a member of the Labour Friends of Israel. Not quite sure who the other one is. Please welcome Jess Phillips MP. And we start with the biggest stories of the week. Ian and Sindhu, here is yours.
Oh, well, that's the President coming home from a war zone. That's Boris putting the laptop away quickly. And that's the uranium. The deal's been ripped up.
Yes.
Trump's diplomacy has reached new heights. He's convinced one nuclear power he's bonkers, and now he's moving on.
But he said it was a bad deal and the Iranians were cheating on it anyway.
Well, I mean, it is a bad deal, but again, everyone knew that. I mean, this very complex deal between Iran and the rest of the world is we give them a shed load of money and they don't blow us up with weapons. It's a very, very simple deal.
Yeah.
If you take the money away, then they probably will.
Yeah.
And Trump has decided it's worth the risk. It's a new world.
Do you think he was maybe won over by the Israeli Prime Minister's thoughtful presentation? There we are.
So funny. He looks like he's in a sixth form or something.
or a very bad optician's office.
Yeah.
He has this idea, I think, that there can only be that much amount of nuclear stuff going on. So North Korea I've shut down, so this I have to start up. One in, one out. I think that's his policy.
What did the Iranian president say?
Well, he said, which shows that we're dealing with a moderate regime that's very thoughtful. He said, death to America.
Yeah. He also said, I'm happy that the pesky being has left the bar jam. That's the Persian acronym for the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. But bar jam sounds so much better, doesn't it? So, with the growing threat of nuclear conflict in the Middle East, a huge
And Boris,
risk...
that's the important bit.
Yes.
That Britain really matters on the world stage.
Yeah. We're in good hands there.
We're in good hands. We sent Boris over to persuade the President not to do it.
Oh, yes, but he only appeared on a television
News,
programme that he knew that the President watches.
Called Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And he was suggesting that he should perhaps win the Nobel Peace Prize. You want to have a look at that?
If he can fix the Iran nuclear deal, then I don't see why he's any less of a candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize than Barack Obama, who got it before he even did anything.
I mean, he has got a point.
He has got a point. It's rather desperate, though, isn't it?
Fine.
They posed that picture just to show what he would look like if he was a building.
Anything else Boris has been up to?
Oh, well, we don't know, do we?
While he was over there?
You'll have to ask his wife
Legal
that.
agreements.
Yeah,
stopping us
he's
from
also been
finding out.
walking along a corridor with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
Is that newsworthy?
I think so.
All right, let's have a look.
Wonderful to see you. Great to see you, Mike. It's great to have you here. Absolutely wonderful to see you. It's great. Thank you for making the time.
It's great. These are important times. So
They are.
thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
But he met Ivanka Trump as well, didn't he?
He did.
So he didn't meet the President, but he met the President's daughter, which for Boris, probably a win.
According to the Times, Iran has shipped out 98% of its enriched uranium. Where has it shipped it to?
Is it Salisbury?
I don't know. I just wonder who's got it. Donald Trump, though, feels his integrity is very much on the line with this decision. How did he round off his speech on the crapping of the deal? Let me do that one again. How did he round off his speech on the scrapping of the deal?
Oh, you were right first time, I think.
Yeah. He said, when I make promises, I keep them. I mean, to be fair, when it comes to election promises, he mostly does. Even his harshest critics at the New York Times admit he's enacted, or tried to enact, 75% of his election promises in the first year, although Hillary is still at large. He's been threatening sanctions. Who are the first to suffer? Slightly closer to home.
Us.
Yes. Yes, less close to home. A little bit further from home.
Scotland.
Yes. Who in Scotland?
Aberdeen. Mr. and Mrs. Jake McTavish.
Exactly right. The golfers.
27 Arbroath
The
Terrace.
golfers.
The
Something to do with
golfers of
Iron
Scotland.
Brew.
Yes,
Yeah, there's an Iron Brew golf course.
This is at Trump's Turnberry golf course. They've banned Iron Brew as they're worried about the staining on the carpet.
Is this a direct result of the Iran deal?
Indubitably, yeah. Meanwhile, the media are hanging on Trump's every word. Let's see how desperate they are to capture even the tiniest little emission from the man.
Into trade between the U.S. and China, and we'll do it. Are you sure that Michael Cohen... Thank you.
So to Stormy Daniels, what's the latest claim on the Stormy Daniels case?
Michael Cohen it looks like he's been receiving money from Russian oligarchs.
He got vast amounts of money from these corporations.
Yes.
And he may or may not, just for the lawyers, have used that money to pay off the adult film actress.
Right.
I mean, it's so complicated. The money was coming to a shell company in which he's a consultant.
Right.
So there's all these... I mean, by the time you get to it, you don't care. You're like, fine, just take the bribes. Let's just change the news, please. I mean, you know, it's a shell company, and then it's him, and then there's the Russians.
Anyone would think you were a former banker.
You know, you can take the girl out of banking.
It's the first time this audience has ever cheered a banker when you came on.
Thank you. But they almost have to. I'm a brown woman. What can you do?
Yeah.
Anyway, so, you know, so it's a complicated thing. But the money
Right.
did go to Stormy, and it came from Cohen.
It came from Cohen. Did anyone see, this is for fun, did anyone see this charming revelation from Stormy Daniels? She said that Trump's hair is real and that it fluffed around like a drunken cockatoo as they had sex. Even that will have no effect. No effect at all.
Is she familiar with a cockatoo? With a...
But in this strife-torn world, there is one small ray of hope. Which long-running conflict has finally been resolved this week?
Oh, Katy Perry and the Swift girl.
Taylor Swift. Yes. Joe, who made the vital first move?
I didn't know they'd fallen out,
Did
if
you
I'm
not?
totally honest. I shall get on
You're
what's
out
up
of
with
touch,
them.
the political
Yeah.
class. You've got
no.
no idea. Real people's lives. Get with it.
Ian's attempts to be a teenager are very entertaining.
Katy Perry apparently sent Taylor Swift
Olive
an
branch.
actual olive branch.
Yeah, that's right, an actual one.
What
There
a
we are.
knob.
Do you know how it all started? Ian, you're up on this. aren't
Yes.
you, I think?
Yeah, I don't want to go into it.
Okay.
Was there an argument about backing dancers?
Exactly that. According to the
Backing dancers.
Telegraph,
Yeah.
Katy Perry apparently tried to book some of Taylor Swift's backing dancers for her own show,
Yeah.
who Taylor had stolen from Katy in the first place, and one of the dancers said, obviously, we were with Katy for 2.5 years. She's like family to us, so we were like, absolutely. We weren't really dancing much in Taylor's tour anyway. So I got a little bored and I really wanted to do a promo tour. Then Taylor unfollowed them all on Twitter. Yes, this is Donald Trump's pulling out of the Iranian nuclear deal. If you're wondering what that squiggle is, it's his cardiogram from that night with Stormy Daniels. Paul and Jess, take a look at this.
Oh, this is President Putin. He's just heard that Donald Trump's at the door, so he's gone to see him. There's a man saluting him. He runs around quickly, that man. There he is again. Look, there he is. He's gone round the back. And here he comes. Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be the leader. And there he is, meeting the man with the flattest head in Moscow.
We should say this is him being inaugurated, wasn't it?
Or his coronation, really.
Coronation.
Really.
Yes, this was the very, very long walk.
Yes.
How many minutes was it? I mean, we edited it down,
I believe it's about
obviously.
8 to 9
Yeah,
minutes.
it's 9 minutes.
I would have been tempted to show it in fast forward with the Benny Hill music.
Well, needless to say, obviously,
Yeah.
Twitter have done a little bit of clever editing for us.
Oh, have they?
Thanks to a Russian news blog, T-Journal, we've got this to enjoy.
Yes.
Does he stop and look up there?
So much better.
The KGBGs.
The style of his walk, there's something significant about that. Let's have a quick look at this. That apparently is a KGB walk, where they swing, vigorous swinging of the left arm. Right arm stays rigid. Trainees are taught to keep that right hand close to the chest while they're walking, allowing them to quickly draw a gun at a moment's notice.
Are you auditioning?
Yes. Who was there? Who was at the inauguration?
I forget his name. He's an actor. He's an American actor.
Well, oh, look.
Steven Seagal.
Let's have a look at
There you
this
go.
guy.
He's a rock.
That guy.
George Michael. What I like about Steven Seagal is whatever happens, he will not dye his hair, which is...
Yeah.
During the ceremony, the head of Constitutional Court got his words in a muddle. How did he end up describing Mr. Putin's new term?
Forever.
He mixed up... There are two words in Russian that sound very, very similar, and he mixed them up. Instead of declaring his new term an appointment, he called it a crime. Very, very similar words in Russian. We won't be seeing him again.
Novichok on the doorknob.
I tell you what, let's mark this historic fourth term with a little quick buzz around. This is a little quick buzz around on Russia. Just a Russian. There we go. Yep, it's working.
Yeah.
Here we go. Our Russia round. Russia round.
Oh, brilliant.
Hey, there it is.
Just buzz it quick, quick, quick.
Yeah. OK, why should you never lower the ear flaps on your Yushanka? Yes, Sindhu.
Because they can't hear the KGB come when they want to shoot you. You can't hear them.
Very good point.
Yeah. It's very bad.
It's not the answer, though, because you look like a wimp, apparently. You're not, yeah. You can't lower your ear flaps until it is below -20. So basically any time between September and July, basically. Traffic in Moscow is horrendous. What do wealthy Russians do to beat traffic jams? Yes, Sindhu.
Helicopters.
Well, that would be sensible.
Yeah.
But no.
Move to Florida.
They hire fake ambulances. Which is incidentally how the cast of Holby City get home as well. What is the Russian tradition when it comes to bunches of flowers?
They must always be an odd number.
That's exactly right.
Oh, no.
They must always be an odd number. It's considered bad luck to give an even number. That's brilliant. It's bad luck to give an even number of flowers, unless at a funeral, in which case it's de rigueur. De rigueur mortis.
Quite right.
Yeah, there is one...
We're not doing this round purely for that one joke, are we?
What happened to Russian beer in 2013?
It had a new flavour.
It had a...
Polonium.
It was accepted for the first time as an alcoholic beverage. Bad news for nursery schools. Almost impossible to get the kids to sleep in the afternoon. Over 70% of Russia is what?
Vodka.
Yes, Siberia is the answer. There we are. That is the end of our quiz. Let's do that again. That was fun. Russia, as you know, is going to be hosting the World Cup this summer. What has FIFA asked every competing country to come up with?
Sanctions.
They want each country to pick a slogan to adorn the side of their team's bus. These include Tunisia's Rise Eagles and in Russia, make Tunisia proud and the fans happy. It's a very long bus, isn't it? One of Iceland's 3 shortlisted slogans is Go Iceland! Only if Waitrose is closed.
Like you'd ever go to Iceland. Oh, you have what, a prawn ring?
I love a prawn ring!
Oh.
Love
Okay,
nothing more. What is one of the choices for...
Let's have an Iceland quiz.
Let's hear one of the choices for Panama's slogan.
Not a canal.
It has shortlisted more than a dream, more than a canal. Brilliant. We did right. But now, finally, what are the choices for the England team slogan?
It won't be long.
The shortlist includes Send Us Victorious, Drive Forward as One,
Well, that's
and Pride, Passion, Together. The best suggestion came from Joe Law on Twitter, who had Keep the engine running.
Is anyone going? I thought it was too dangerous to go.
No. I think the British government is advising people not to go for all sorts of reasons, and certainly no politicians, royals or anything are being allowed to go.
But to be honest, if the Russians want to kill us, we don't have to go there. I mean, they just...
This is the swearing-in of Vladimir Putin following his election victory. In one of his decrees, Mr. Putin pledged to increase average life expectancy from 72 to 78, presumably by telling the KGB to take it easy for a bit. Between 2008 and 2012, Dmitry Medvedev became president, but according to The Times, Putin retained control behind the scenes. In very much the same way in the US, in 2016, Donald Trump became president, but Putin retained control behind the scenes. And now, Ian and Sindhu, here is another for you.
That's a Black Death, Doctor. Rats spreading Black Death. Oh, and there is Black Death.
This is the one where the head of UKIP, when they talked to him and said, well, you've done very badly, and he said, yeah, well, we're actually like the Black Death. We're going to be dormant, then we're going to surge back, or something like this. He basically compared himself to Black Death, and they checked. They said, are you comparing yourself to Black Death? And he said, yes.
In a good way.
And then they said, but you do realize it killed a lot of people. And he said, this is not a history lesson. It's that guy.
Here he is on Radio 4. Listen to this.
No, it's not over at all. I mean, think of the Black Death in the Middle Ages. It comes along and it causes disruption, and then it goes dormant, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
And it was pointed out to him that, do you really mean to say this? He said, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What's wrong with that? He said. It also led to economic growth. It's a more radical policy than austerity, but UKIP are prepared to give it a go. Jess, were you pleased with Labour's performance on the whole?
I mean...
What was that noise?
Really. No, I'd hoped for more.
You don't think you overhyped it beforehand?
Well, I didn't, I don't think. There was a lot of overhyping about Wandsworth getting Thatcher's favourite council. Why did she have a favourite council? What's anyone's favourite? Have you got a favourite council?
Oh, yeah. You
Which
kidding?
one is it?
Sharwell.
But have we hit peak Corbyn?
People keep asking me this. And obviously not in some places, but yes in others.
Because I keep...
Rubbish answer. He's peaky somewhere, less peaky elsewhere.
He was
Is it a BBC Two series? Peaky Corbyn?
Peaky Corbyn.
Here is Jeremy Corbyn himself giving an opinion on this.
So we haven't seen...
What's so funny is everyone was so busy celebrating down at Plymouth, they didn't see this, the Russians invaded, just behind. Jess, Jeremy Corbyn and lunch, what's this thing? I read something about him trying to share his lunch with you.
Oh, yeah,
What's that?
he oft tries to give you lunch. A salad sandwich he offered me once. But the salad sandwich lost me a vote. On the doorstep, this man said to me, I can't vote for you, I can't stand that Jeremy Corbyn. And Danny, my son, was with me and he said, oh, but he's really nice, he offered us a salad sandwich. And the bloke went, that's the final nail.
Is it true you only became an MP for a bet?
It was part of a bet, yeah. Not the only reason I became an MP, but yeah...
Did you lose the bet?
Me and my mate Wendy said who can become an MP quickest. And she didn't put in any bloody effort.
She's currently Secretary of State for Northern Ireland. Who's been making life difficult for Theresa May this week?
Boris.
Yeah, exactly, yes. After that diplomatic triumph over in the US, he has come back and he's rubbished Theresa May's Brexit customs plan.
He called her crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
The woman who appointed him.
Can anyone be bothered to tell us what happened in the Lords this week?
Another Brexit defeat for the government.
Yes.
They threw out another amendment.
And how many defeats they had now?
14.
14.
Yeah.
It's not going well.
No. This led the Mail to fume. Brussels must be chortling as these traitors in ermine betray 17.4 million voters.
Well, it's infuriating because the whole point of Brexit was to, you know, to give power back to Parliament and Parliament's doing its job. I mean, what do they think they're doing?
I've gone completely the other way. That I hated the Lords before, now I'm like that. I like you, Lords.
There's 1,000 British people working in Brussels for the EU. What has Jean-Claude Juncker suggested they do after Brexit?
That they get citizenship.
of...
Of Belgium.
That's right. See, I love Belgium. I think we should perhaps have a little quick-fire Belgium quiz round. Should we do this?
I feel I'm better on Belgium.
OK, where are 80% of the world's billiard balls made? Jess.
Belgium?
Yes! Which country has the second tallest people in the world?
Is it Belgium?
Yes!
This is your specialist subject.
In which you are brilliant at
good
this.
footing in Belgium.
This is just Remainer propaganda.
Where is the so-called diamond capital of the world?
Belgium.
Antwerp.
Antwerp. Very strong indeed. Antwerp it is.
We've got the blood going, didn't
Yeah, didn't it? This is the local elections. UKIP's Paul Oakley pointed to the positive outcomes of the Black Death, saying it led to economic growth and the Renaissance. It's a bit like saying how nice Hiroshima is now it's been pedestrianised. The Liberal Democrats regained control of Richmond. The comeback starts here, said Vince Cable. Well, that's nice. I thought he was dead. Meanwhile, a think tank has suggested that we can fix the generation gap by giving £10,000 to all 25-year-olds. Really? They'll just spend it on smashed avocado and gender realignment. Now, Paul and Jess, here is another one for you.
Oh, yes, that's a bear being taken out of the zoo for an ice cream. The fact of the matter is, if he can drive himself there, he deserves the ice cream. He didn't go there directly. He went to the woods for a comfort break. So, yeah, this is about the bear out of the zoo, give him an ice cream, day out, and then people started to get angry about it.
Yeah,
that's pretty much exactly it. This is a zoo in Alberta, Canada, which is facing charges after one of its bears was taken in a pickup truck to an ice cream drive-through.
I mean, I have to say, that bear was being better with that ice cream in that car than any of my kids have ever been.
Definitely.
Very good. And it ate the cone.
Yeah, so nicely.
Yeah, didn't just bite the bottom off and then pour
Yeah, and
it
then
all
pour it
down
everywhere.
itself.
And then ask for a napkin.
Every single time.
Yeah, and then ask for a napkin and smack its sibling. It didn't. It was just eating the ice cream.
Alberta province officials say they were bringing charges because the zookeepers didn't ask permission beforehand.
But, you know, they didn't ask permission because they wouldn't have got it.
Well, there you are.
And to be honest,
Come on.
that's the best way to do what you need, is just don't ask, just go do it.
Seize the moment.
Seize the moment. And
Bring the
also,
bear.
take the bear.
Yeah. The zoo's bears, which have been raised in captivity, are apparently very well trained and talented. One lucky bear got to participate in a study for a Scottish vet, during which he learnt how to pee in a cup.
Now, is that the vet or is that the bear?
Drive through ice cream there.
It's nice.
I mean,
it's quite fun.
we should get that here. That would be amazing.
3 days a year, it'd be fantastic.
It was difficult for the bear to decide which ice cream to have. For some reason, the first one it tried was too runny, the second was too cold, the third, just right. The drive-through attendant can be seen feeding the bear a large ice cream cone. I don't know if there were crushed nuts, but the guy could easily have had his face torn off. And so to round two, the picture spin quiz. Fingers on buzzers,
Yep.
teams. Here is our first picture. Oh,
Belgium.
Yes, Paul and Jess.
These are people, the nudists, naturists, are allowed to go into an art gallery. They've had a special sort of, like, take your clothes off day, come in. You don't have to pay because there'll be nowhere to keep your change. So, yeah, come in the nude and be rude. Don't be rude. Come in the nude, have a look at nudes. Nudes looking at nudes.
Where's the gallery?
France.
It is. Should we have a look at some more of the exhibits? There we go. And there we go. Shoes are interesting. How did he get his trousers off? I wonder. According to one of the 161 naked visitors to the Palais de Tokyo, in the vast spaces of the gallery, one feels more vulnerable when one is naked. I think, and everywhere else. One visitor, a 23-year-old student called Marta, said being naked meant that you interact more with the sculptures, especially.
Oh, God.
At which point Marta was swiftly escorted to the door. According to Cédric Amato, the vice-chairman of the Paris Naturist Association, nudists are overcoming barriers.
Wow.
That's painful.
Yes, they've opened a fine dining restaurant for nudists. Any idea what that's called? Au Naturel. There we are, and there we can see them.
It's an Irish pub.
It is. coq au vin.
Is that French for having sex in a lorry?
Well, this is the art gallery in Paris, which opened its doors to naturists. It's not the first time a gallery has welcomed nudists. According to The Independent, a museum in Australia has also opened its doors to naked viewers. Who would have thought there's a museum in Australia? OK, now, fingers on buzzers, teams. Here is your next picture. Ah, yes.
There's a man who was in a car.
Yes, yes.
And the
Entirely
entire car is full of bees.
It was Wallace Leatherwood, a beekeeper, who drove for 40 miles with thousands of bees loose in his truck without getting stung once. He'd just put 3 boxes of the bees in the back of his cab. And when he came back, there were bees everywhere. So he did what anyone would do and just started driving. So let's see how this played out for him.
We got bees everywhere. I guess we'll make it home. We got them over here. We got them up here. And I'm still here.
They must have been so scared, just saying, "Look at the road, for God's sake!" Oh, but who would have loved to have been in his cab?
A bee fancier.
Justin O. Schmidt, an entomologist.
Did the vicar drop him at the baptism?
Justin O. Schmidt.
Yeah.
He's quite a hands-on researcher. He travels all over the world getting stung by insects to create a comprehensive pain index, ranking 83 insect stings on a spectrum of 1 to 4. Here is Justin doing his work. There he is.
my God.
OK, here's fun. How does Justin rank the sting of the anthoporid bee?
3.
1.
Yeah, 1. Yes, according to Justin, it's a pain level 1. Almost pleasant. A lover just bit your earlobe a little too hard.
Oh.
What about the tarantula hawk?
That looks nasty. 4.
4 is exactly right, yes. Blinding, fierce, shockingly electric. A running hairdryer has just been dropped into your bubble bath.
You'd be dead.
You're dead, basically.
Yeah, that's... yeah.
Death.
What's the creepy crawly that tops his list, though? The absolute top when it comes to inflicting misery on its victim?
Gove.
It is in fact, the bullet ant.
Oh, yeah.
There we are, whose sting Justin describes as like walking over flaming charcoal with a 3-inch nail embedded in your heel. Justin admits, "I know people think I'm a bit crazy, but I'm really not. I'm just trying to answer a different set of questions." This is North Carolina beekeeper Wallace Leatherwood, who bought 3 boxes of bees for $165 a box, then drove home with 3,000 bees loose in his cab. He later told reporters, "I wasn't stung once." $165 for a box of bees, I think it worked. There's also a book out from scientist Justin Schmidt describing the amount of pain caused by different insect bites. According to Justin Schmidt, one of the most painful and dangerous ants is the bullet ant. Though an even more dangerous ant is this one, especially in a car. It is time now for the Odd One Out round. Ian and Sindhu, your 4 are Christopher Plummer, Ed Balls, Bill and Melinda Gates, and Patrick Park, Donald Trump's first pick to be US ambassador to Austria.
Well, the Austria is the clue, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You agree? Mm-hmm. Christopher Plummer was in The Sound of Music.
The Idlewild guy.
Yep. As he became known. Ed Balls is very keen on The Sound of Music.
I'm surely he's the only one that's having a Hitler moustache being sucked off his face by a very small vacuum cleaner.
Oh, yes, how stupid of me.
And this guy is the ambassador-elect to Austria?
No, Trump offered him the ambassadorship of Austria on the grounds that he likes The Sound of Music. He was a friend of his from his club. So, and I don't know about them. Do they like The Sound of Music?
Bill and Melinda?
Yeah. Have they bought it? Have they bought Austria?
Yeah.
Christopher Plummer didn't like The Sound of Music. He was in it and thought it wasn't any good.
That is, in fact, the right answer. He is the odd one out. They all were obsessed with The Sound of Music. They all still are obsessed with The Sound of Music, apart from Christopher Plummer, who loathed it. How can anyone hate The Sound of Music?
Because it's rubbish and long.
No, but it's also...
It's
long?
But it's got great songs.
Good songs.
Name one.
It's good.
Doe, a deer, female deer.
Any song but that.
Tropical sun.
We could be on Alexander's new album.
You are. But anyway, back to Christopher Plummer. What alternative title did he give the film? He called it The Sound of Mucus. Even working with Julie Andrews, did he enjoy that?
No, he hated her.
He said working with her was like being hit over the head with a Valentine's card.
I really like Christopher Plummer.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great bloke.
Patrick Park, Donald Trump's choice for US Ambassador to Austria, you're absolutely right. Yes. He's a Sound of Music obsessive. What did Mr. Park most want to do when Trump first asked him to do the job?
Climb every mountain.
Days after his nomination, he told reporters, I'm flying to Vienna to check out the embassy, then I'm going to Salzburg to see if the Von Trapp family house is for rent. I've always wanted to live in the Von Trapp house. But Bill and Melinda Gates, they're also huge fans of The Sound of Music. How did we discover this?
The internet?
He was on Desert Island Discs with Kirsty Young in 2016. And one of the tracks he chose was How Can Love Survive? From the Sound of Music stage musical.
Well, it's not in the film.
No, it's not in the film. That's a good pointless answer. Remember that.
Which one of these songs is not in the Sound of Music film?
Oh, there's loads.
How
Yeah,
can
exactly.
love...
Goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Not such a good answer. What was the theme for Melinda Gates' 50th birthday party?
I'm 49 going on 50.
In an interview with Vanity Fair, Melinda revealed that Bill threw her a huge party themed around her favourite film. Melinda said the women were all in dirndls, the men in lederhosen. It was a ton of fun.
Oh, good God.
Yes, I mean, you're absolutely right. The answer is they're all obsessed with The Sound of Music, apart from Christopher Plummer, who hated it. According to the Mail Online, he hated making the film so much he ate away his sorrows. Plummer consumed so many pastries, he got to the point where his costumes no longer fitted him. Luckily, Julie Andrews made some new ones out of the curtains in the dressing room. Ed Balls and his family went on a Sound of Music-themed holiday where they wore lederhosen and cycled for several days. But the balls were sweaty after that. Paul and Jess, here are yours. Swedish meatballs, the English language, a turkey, and Boris Johnson.
The English language, maybe the clue is here the fact that you identified the nationality of the meatballs and you've got the flag sticking to call them Swedish meatballs. Now, we do know that Boris has Turkish family tree back in his great-great-grandparents or something, and there's the turkey there. Now, it would be too obvious for the turkey to be from Turkey. So it's not from Turkey. So I think then that Boris and the Swedish meatballs both have Turkey origins, and presumably the English language has Turkish origins, and so the turkey's the odd one out because it's from America.
Absolutely right, yeah. No. Why are turkeys called turkeys if they're not from Turkey?
Is it an Indian word?
No.
Well, no.
Thank you.
When the turkeys arrived from America, they looked a little bit like guinea fowl.
Yes.
Which were called turkey cocks because
That could be a medical complaint.
Guinea fowls were sold to them by people from Turkey. But the turkeys looked like the guinea fowls, which were turkey cocks in 16th century English.
Do you know what you're talking about?
No,
Yes.
no. Anyway,
You haven't got another bloke to help you now, have you?
I know. Lost.
Someone that knows all the answers.
What do other countries call turkeys?
In French, it's like...
turkey.
Dindon.
Le don, which basically means beautiful or something like that.
I think from India.
Dan.
Dand.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very
Dand.
much. Dindon from India.
You're not Richard Osman, are you?
Dand. Yeah.
In Germany, it's known as fan arse.
Are they? That's good.
Yeah, so he's got an arse like a fan.
So in Luxembourg, they are called snot hens. This is because of the dangly
The
bit.
dangly bit?
The turkey's
yes.
snood.
One of the least popular items in KFC.
Boris Johnson's great-grandfather was a famous Turkish newspaper editor and government minister called Ali Kemal. How was Boris recently linked to an 18th century syphilitic mummy?
Used to go out with her. It's a relation of his, isn't it? It's an old sort of...
Discovered in Constantinople, I think.
Yeah.
It was a Swiss church.
Oh, Swiss church.
Yeah. And they identified it as Boris's great-great-great-great-great-great-great
How
grandmother.
did they know to check Boris's DNA?
Oh, no, did they check everyone?
I don't know. Was
No,
anyone
if there's
else?
ever a test, Boris is one of the people they go round.
Should we see them? There we are.
Does look like it.
Yeah. Now, come on, you have to give us a clue. Which is which?
Why does Boris get the headlines, not Joe? He's got a brother who's
No.
in the Commons.
Yeah.
He's related to the syphilitic nun.
Yeah.
He deserves credit.
Yeah, exactly.
Poor old
Rachel
Joe.
Johnson, yeah.
Rachel Johnson.
Yeah, Rachel Johnson, Stanley Johnson.
Any of the
that's
Johnsons.
Yeah, Johnson & Johnson, the floor wax people.
They're both in the cabinet.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, there we are.
Swedish meatballs are originally Turkish. Last week, Sweden's official Twitter account tweeted Swedish meatballs are actually based on a recipe King Charles XII brought home from Turkey in the early 18th century. Let's stick to the facts, which led one distraught Swede to tweet, "My whole life is a lie." In other Swedish news, what have IKEA been doing with dozens of children this week?
Flat packing them. I don't know. Sorry.
What did you say? Flat packing them?
No, they've been making them bully plants. Over 30 days, they asked a group of children to insult one plant and be nice to another. This is to prove how negativity can stop growth. Here is the happy plant that they were nice to.
Yes.
And here is the plant they insulted. How did the children insult the plants?
By not watering it.
Clearly. The insults from the children included, "You look rotten," and "Are you even alive?" While the compliments included, "You're making a difference in the world."
You should have had one of those plants that will eat you.
Venus
The Venus
flytrap.
flytraps, yeah. You should have had one of
Yeah,
those. And
take
you go
on
right
one
up
of
the,
those.
yeah, you go up to them and say, "Oh, you're not ugly," and then that'll teach you. That'll teach you not to bully.
So you'd like us to have flesh-eating plants attacking our children?
No, I'm not saying that.
They all have Turkish origins, except the turkey, which originally comes from America. According to the Smithsonian Institute, turkeys can run at speeds up to 25 miles an hour. Unfortunately, Bernard Matthews can do 26. Time now for Missing Words Round, which this week features as its guest publication, Branchline News. It comes out on Tuesdays. And we start with macaroni mad bride and groom. What?
Sectioned.
You'd like something like Have Cheesy Wedding
Have
or
cheesy,
something.
yeah. Get married in macaroni suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have that. Have Mr. Macaroni as best man. A Glasgow couple have had a macaroni-themed wedding. Here they are.
No, do tell me which one she's got married to.
Apparently, the couple met each other on an Italian food-based dating site, Big Pepper Grinder. Next, people called David most likely to what?
Answered in the name of Dave. Beat men.
Walk the country off a cliff.
Succeed.
Yeah, I think we'll go with that, yes. People called David most likely to get top jobs. According to the Sunday Herald, the names James and Thomas appear most commonly at top universities and are also most popular names for tank engines. Next, if what? The Branchline News team is not guilty.
If accused of mainlining heroin. Branchline, mainline, branchline. You may continue.
You receive your newsletter email a little late. The Branchline News team is not guilty. If you want something to read and your newsletter email is late, you can always use the replacement book service. Next, Archbishop of Canterbury, what to prepare for royal wedding?
I think this is Raps. He's a fan of Stormzy. As indeed am I.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he chants this to make himself feel better. He chants
exactly
Stormzy lyrics.
Completely right.
Not to be confused with Stormzy Daniels.
No. Archbishop of Canterbury listening to grime to prepare for royal wedding. Justin Welby says he finds a song by grime artist Stormzy calms his nerves. According to The Sun, there are rumours Stormzy will play at the royal wedding, although first it will need to be okayed by Prince Philip's cardiologist. OK, world's luckiest person, what, and what on same day?
Oh, yes, I saw this. World's luckiest person leaves his job and wins the lottery on the same day.
Yeah, and has his birthday.
That's
right.
Yeah,
And
his
retires,
birthday as well.
has birthday, wins lottery. According to CNN, the lottery organisers would not divulge what he did for a living. My guess is lottery draw organiser. Next, when a driver had to freewheel his train for 16 miles after Bushey Station, astonishingly, what?
He was still on time.
Pretty much, yeah. It turned up at Euston 1 minute early. Finally, sharks love what, but are stumped by what?
Love football, but stumped by cricket. Got to be.
No, it's not, but it's...
What do you mean it's not?
Well, it's not.
Of course it is. It's a well-known fact. David Attenborough has filmed them. Here, the shark disdains the football.
Sharks love jazz, but are stumped by classical. This is
That's nonsense.
This is according to marine research conducted by scuba-doo-bap-bap-ba-doo-ba-doo divers. So the final scores are 9 to Sindhu and Ian.
We need to know the basis of this research.
Where does this story come from?
I have no idea.
What have they done? Have they said they've taken a shark to Ronnie Scott's jazz club in London? This is better than it is. Oh, wow.
So the final scores are 9 points to Sindhu and Ian and 11 points to Paul and Jess.
No.
Back before we go, there is just time for the caption competition.
Well-known trainer enters horse at Grand National.
And I leave you with news that in Scarborough, someone's in big trouble after kicking over the wrong sandcastle. In Washington, Donald Trump insists he hasn't told nearly as many lies as the media suggest and is keeping his own records. And there are reports of a white Fiat being driven erratically in the Windsor area. Good night.